Hi and welcome to Movies Suck. Today I'm reading this article from The Independent. And this is an article from a lady named Clemence Michelon. And she says, "The Bond producer thinks women deserve better than a female James Bond. I couldn't disagree more. I want a woman behind the wheel of that Aston Martin. I want a woman in a very stylish pantsuit who sleeps with men she barely knows and doesn't give them a second thought after the post-sex shower." Well, I'm entirely opposed to the idea of there being a female James Bond, and this is not the problem with this article. This lady is probably some sort of mental third-wave feminist who has no idea about reality of the world and what's going on anywhere except inside her tiny little bubble inside her head, and a bubble she probably shares with some few friends who are also insane. But that is not the problem with this article. This article goes on at some length about how this lady thinks a female James Bond would be great, and I'll read a bit of it in a minute. The problem with this article is Barbara Broccoli. Now you're thinking to yourself, hang on, Barbara Broccoli, isn't she like in charge of the James Bond franchise at the minute or something like that? And you'd be right, that's kind of what it is. She's a producer of James Bond, and listen to what the article says. It says, "In a recent interview, Barbara Broccoli, a longtime producer of the James Bond franchise, poured water on the idea that a spy could ever be portrayed by a woman." And this is what Barbara Broccoli said. She said, "He can be of any color, but he is male," Broccoli told Variety. "I believe we should be creating new characters for women, strong female characters. I'm not particularly interested in taking a male character and having a woman play it. I think women are far more interesting than that." Okay, fine. So, you are opposed to the idea of a female playing James Bond because being male is an immutable characteristic. So, you don't like the idea of gender swapping characters, but you're not against the idea of race swapping characters. James Bond is famously a white male. Oh my god, how terrible is that? A white heterosexual straight male. Oh my god, I can feel the woke vibrations. If I'd put that on Twitter, then people would be trying to destroy me by now. And he has to stay a white heterosexual male. A white heterosexual English male. Now, you'll find a lot of people saying, "Yeah, but there's other coloured people in England." Yes, there are. There are indeed, but there weren't when James Bond was created. The numbers were tiny. The numbers have only gone up since we had the travesty that was Tony Blair as Prime Minister. And while if the character was from somewhere else, then that might have been okay. People will say, "Yeah, but he's from Great Britain. Great Britain covers a lot of different places." Yeah, it does, but James Bond is English. He's not British, as in the whole of the British area. I mean, he's been played by a Scotsman, he's been played by an Australian, and these are all white men, but they were playing English. They had to pass for being English white male heterosexual men. So that is an immutable characteristic. And the idea that you think that changing his colour is fine. Who cares? Let's have an Indian-looking James Bond. What does it matter? Let's have him black. Let's have him orange. Let's have like an Asian-looking... And by Asian, in this case, I'm talking about actual Asians. You know, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, that sort of thing. Let's have a Korean, Japanese-looking James Bond. And all of these ideas are equally as bad as a female James Bond. In fact, they are no different. No different whatsoever from the idea of a female James Bond. You're just changing the mutable characteristic that you don't mind. You think he should stay male because James Bond's a male character. James Bond is also a white English male character. All of these are mutable characteristics. If you think that any one of them can be swapped, then you think all of them can be swapped, and therefore changing him to a female is absolutely no different. You are being a clown if you think any different to that. There is no difference at all. I have no sympathy for Barbara Broccoli thinking that she can just change a different characteristic. Who cares? Doesn't matter. What characteristic do you want? You know, British can be a lot of different things. Maybe he's just from the Commonwealth. Maybe we could have a Pakistani James Bond. Or maybe he can be Indian. Or who knows what else. Because, yeah, remember, the British Empire covered a very, very large area. You could have almost any kind of James Bond you liked under those circumstances. I think we even own some of the North Pole. We can have, like, an Inuit James Bond. So, whatever, dumbass. You cannot change the character to that degree. You can't change the character at all. The character should be portrayed as originally written by Fleming. Anything else is just sacrilege. And your opinion that other parts of the character can be changed and certain parts can't is just as stupid as the idea that he could be female. Let's read a little bit of this story, because this lady's a bit nuts, and it amused me when I read it. Broccoli's comments have been met with approval of some fans, who are apparently convinced that never having a female Bond is a wonderful idea. Indeed, they say women deserve better than men's hand-me-downs. They should have their own characters, their own franchises, their own films. Who even cares about Bond? I agree. If you want a strong female character who's a spy and is a bit of a slut and sleeps with any old woman and things, like Bond does, or any old man, sorry, yeah, fine, write the character, get the funding, make the film. I might even watch it if it seems worthwhile. Unless, of course, you're into things like Charlie's Angels, in which case I won't be watching it again. Never. People don't need that kind of torture. Women should be happy, and they are happy, because we're not talking about normal women here, are we? We're talking about third-wave feminist, woke, intersectional women who think this way. Normal women are very happy with James Bond being who he is, because men want to be James Bond, women want to sleep with James Bond. This is how the character works. Would I like to be James Bond? Sounds pretty cool. I wouldn't mind being James Bond. Always wanted an Aston Martin DB5 with machine guns that come out of the headlights. Would be cool. And an ejector seat so that I can get rid of people who are annoying and boring. I mean, I'd be inviting third-wave feminists to come out for drives with me all the time. Wouldn't be able to stop me. I'd be like, you're a third-wave feminist? Oh man, I really need to have a talk to you. But first, we need to get in my Aston Martin and go for a drive. Yeah, a cliff-top drive. Be great. Ah, absolutely sickening. But there is no real reason to read the rest of the story. The story just got my attention because of the idea that a female James Bond is terrible. You can't have a female James Bond according to Barbara Broccoli, but you can race swap James Bond, completely change his identity in every way possible. Probably doesn't need to have an English accent. I mean, let's face it, if you're going to race swap him, plenty of the races over here that are not of English descent don't have English accents. So maybe there is no characteristic of James Bond that's worth saving according to the woke media and generally woke Hollywood of 2020. It really, really doesn't make much difference anymore, does it? Does anything matter? Who cares? Doctor Who? This person even mentions Doctor Who here. Oh, they swapped the Doctor, a female Doctor. Some were angry. Others, including me, were thrilled. After years of being relegated to the rank of companions, a woman was finally taking control of the TARDIS. Yeah, and how well has that gone? Let me think. What was the review for Spyfall? 8% approval? So only 8% only 8% of the people who saw it liked it. Rotten Tomatoes is doing their usual rotten thing of basically deleting anything they don't like and starting it again, saying, no, they still don't like it. What's wrong with them? Let's delete it again. Let's start again. Let's just make Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker 86% and leave it there, regardless of what happens. It's just messed up. And if James Bond doesn't matter, does anything matter, really? I'm starting to think that these people really don't care about the normal person. Because the people that want these things are not normal people. They're really not. The average people are out there. We're all over the place. We are the majority. But we're not vocal enough. I would advise all you guys out there who are normal, think about things in a normal way, understand that there are only two genders and all these other very, very specific details that make normal life normal. You need to be a bit more vocal about it. Otherwise, idiots like this are going to get control of the things you love. They really are. This has been Movie Suck saying, leave things the fuck alone. Signing out. Leave a like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.